Yes, we are live now.
Yep.
Y-
Is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is
Yeah.
visible.
Hi all. Welcome to another meetup with Azure Developer Community. As you must have seen, that we as a community are very active. We have been organizing many meetups lately. It's been like for 5 to 6 months and we have this community page where you can become an organizer, sign up as a speaker. So the idea behind is not just Azure services, but any other open source tools and technologies that you guys are using. We can help you upskill as a developer and groom you as a speaker here. So you can join us. Check out this website azdev.confirm.com. And yeah, so we are active in multiple cities. We don't just target the big cities, but we are into uh, very small cities also. In Mumbai, we are active in Mumbai suburbs as well, even in Navi Mumbai. And here you get a list of everything like the upcoming events, the cities we are active in, and based on the region, you can choose and select which event you want to participate in. So you can also visit the past events and go and check out what was conducted in those sessions. And this is a list of our speakers, amazing speakers that we have. And you can also join us as a speaker. We can groom you and teach you to be a speaker. Yeah, so that's about our community. And today we have with us Vishwas Narayan. He is a final year student, and he is very passionate about tech, all things tech. And today's talk is about Docker security. Over to you, Vishwas.
Yeah, Poonam, thank you so much for introducing me, and let me just introduce share my screen so that I can also keep talking about something that I know about. So, yep, some slides, some theory before so that we can get it started. So, meanwhile, we can have an access to a lot of tech and all the things. So let me just fire up my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yep.
Sure. I'll present my screen. Go here, present my screen. All right. Network is a little slow today. Why? All right. Sure. I think internet got resolved. Let me just present my screen. So I'll say
While Vishwas is starting to share his screen, guys, whoever have joined us, a very warm welcome. And there is a chat section on the right hand side. So if you have any questions during the session, you can drop in your questions, and we can take them one by one. Yeah, Vishwas, go ahead.
sure, guys. So Docker security is the main goal here, and we also introduce some concepts to you via ACI and also through your actually not an ACI, basically Docker Hub to and website. Simple as that. No complexities and how it is running, what makes it run to that extent. Simple. So let me just give you a quick intro about Docker. Docker started with the problem statement of there were on-premises system where it had a lot of issues and things like that came in, and every user need to have a server, and that server was dedicated, and the compute was wasted. And then there was an invention of VMs like type 1 VM, type 2 VM. Type 1 VM is something which goes and sits on your entire system. No host OS required, but type 2 is something like your virtual box. Type 1 is something like VMware, ELXI kind of a thing, Elastic extension, and lot of other stuff come up. So about me, I'm a podcaster, so you can click onto this link and you can see me podcasting with different techies, and hopefully you get a chance to learn something new beyond it. Oh my god. Oh, since I'm running my VM, it's running very slow. Sorry for that. A lot of VMs and things running today. So I love talking to techies. I'm also a bibliophile. Like seriously, anything and everything on a book, like any book which has good content, and I fall in love with the first 10 pages. I start reading it. Passionate about image data sets. Computer vision is some of the problem statements that I intend to like fascinate about. Like it's the future of tech or something like that. So it's one of my biggest fascination till date, and now exploring Azure Cloud. And let me just go to the future slides. So agenda of today: why Docker security? What is the meaning of it? What it means to you? Simple as that. Why? Because everything and anything is a container now. Like everything and everything, whether it's Docker or Rocket, everything gets packaged as a container and gets thrown to you. So in this, throughout the session, I'll actually do one demo on a website, one demo on a Jupyter lab and a Jupyter notebook, and also and clear Linux and an Ubuntu. So stay tuned with me for a long run. So the motivation of everything which is related to the security aspects is basically how you training is something like I'll say what really happens. Like when you train some new guy, like he might have a not patched something. Like it can just be a software which is more vulnerable. Like there can be a DDoS attack which can be happening twice, thrice, and like you might have not realized it, and buffer overflows. A lot of things happen. So the patching is something like updating passwords, management, and all the things. So thanks to this man, Kevin Mitnick, the godfather for all the cybersecurity these days. And he doesn't even talk about the cybersecurity, he also talks beyond it. So in his book, Ghost in a Virus, amazing book, must read book. Please go and read it because this is the way in which cybersecurity was born. Like people saw that there was some sort of an vulnerability and they started never exploring it. So he started exploring it. There are a lot of stories behind it also. So everything is Docker today, kind of an Docker, and yeah, no, there will be some demos on web apps. So we'll show you that. So the stable release has just happened in 2nd June, 20 days ago, and thanks to Solomon Hikes, who is an amazing developer. I think Docker is something which is like underestimated resources, which is like some people say that greatest invention of all time is something like bulb, electricity, or something. I think probably Docker is also in par with all those technologies that you can see today, and it's developed using a Go language, and Docker Inc. is something which is still rare. And you can work on x86, 64, all these platforms and architecture, and even edge computing has even been implemented. Like edge computing also has an use case in it. So containers for rest of us is actually a session from Amir Jan, an amazing open source enthusiast. I would love to say that if you want to know everything and anything about the containers, like the basics aspects of it, just go there and just get it done. I even without that also it's fine because there's nothing complex here. It's the same old containers that we'll be talking about. It's the same old Docker and everything still remains the same. So motivation for the real world example. This is a system of a general system for a cab mechanism or a cab ride share system and things like that. And there are companies which are coming out with lot and lot of aspects here. So like everything has to be packaged in a right fashion, and everybody needs to access this entire infrastructure with the same pace. Let me just say like somebody has an access to an internet which is like 2 mbps per second, somebody has an access to an internet which is like 10 mbps per second, or it's like 100 mbps per second. Like everybody needs to access the same old infrastructure, and they have to get the same old uh, beginning to end. They need to have the same experience. The UI remains the same, everything remains the same. the way in which the data flows in and out of the system differs. So there are load balancers, all these things. I think don't go behind the complexity of this architecture. Sorry for my handwritten drawings, and sorry for it. So I had to do some kind of an uh, Adobe scan and just put it as an image right here. So sorry for that. And I think so. I still have many architecture here and there. I still have. This is for Twitter. This is for other Netflix. This is the structure of your DDoS attack. Like one system get an access to several of it, and then attacks one system. This is where your overflow of resources start. Like this starts triggering everything, and this starts getting that reply for it. So there are other systems like okay, data ticketing system and everything. So this is actually a very complex one, but very similar, very simple and a similar one to all the cab rate share system, and everything still remains the same. Like probably the softwares here goes on to be a different one, like ELK, Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana, lot of things. So intrinsic security, let me just say you what it is all about. So intrinsic is something like this always has to be within the container itself. Extrinsic is like you basically doing some manipulation for the entire system, and that's where you are getting that system more secure. So namespaces and C groups are control groups, and namespaces. Namespaces are something like the named entities inside a container. Like I'll show you how. Uh, Clear Linux. I have downloaded Clear Linux, so it does not take a lot of time. Oh, sorry for the second slide. All right. So Docker images. I'll say you what it is in a simple way. Oh, sorry for my Clear Linux. Oh, that does demo, but yes, this is the one. Docker run -it Clear Linux. Clear Linux. I'll come to it in a later when we do the the continuous version of the hands-on demo. But like we'll just go on with what is this and everything. So run -it. It's taking time because there's a VM running here because I want to show a demo for you guys. All right. So let's just move on with it. So a namespace is something like this, like clear. It's called clear. Okay, let's not do that. So ls, I do this and I get an access to everything in the file system, authors, dev, and all these. So let me just go to my VM here. Sorry for my typo. Vishwas. I think this is my website. Yeah, that's no big deal. Like Control Alt T. I'm doing it right. Just give me a new window. Oh, right. So I'm in the root and see everything that I have here is still there. Like I can still go sudo su or super user. So I can do ls, still remains the same. See, it's still in the root privileges. So why should I have a root privileges? It should never go on with it. I can do like app get update and commit it. It will start working. It doesn't work because app get is not available. So super user do everything all still remains the same. So now at every time when you have this container ID, so this is a namespace. Like everything has its own namespaces. Like it sits on your system with a namespace and it can never be accessed by other. So even if you try to commit it with the future commands like docker commit and that ID with all the privileges and things like that, it will not work. So and C groups is basically control groups. This actually says what is the capability of an entire Linux stack. What is the capability of an entire Linux compute, like the isolated compute that I showed here. This doesn't interfere with any of your systems. Like there is a Linux running on it. So if I do images, okay, Docker PS. This is one of the commands where you can say like all the running commands come up and say, okay, this is running, this is not running. So these are some of the examples, like, like everything also has its own hashes. So image IDs will be unique throughout, and this is actually a replica of it. So image IDs will still remain the same. So now let's just go to this thing. So attack surfaces. So when you think of Docker, the attack surfaces still remains the same. A Docker daemon is something which is like very basic thing. Like it's just a platform where your Docker images are getting accessed, and Docker is made to run very successful. Like it's on your host, but as a different file system, as different set of ports. And rootless modes are one thing which I wanted to say, because what you're accessing is through a root. Like I can show you, this is all through a root, and it's an user access and things like that. And certificates are like SSL, SSL certificates, HTTPS certificates, like only access through that port, and only user who knows which port has been exposed can access it, things like that. So a containers profile is basically through an SSH daemon, and also secure shell daemon. So SSH is nothing but a secure shell daemon, and no root profiles for the containers. So what I showed, the root can never get access here. So communication with the kernel, how is the communication happening? Docker networking coming into the picture. Even if I scan this image, like what is really happening, and things like that starts popping up when you are in like the developer environment. So let's just go on to the demo part of it. So in a meanwhile, this is just an cloned website, and I have something typed, and randomly type something, and I commit it. I don't want it to get saved because a lot of saves has been done. So I go here and I refresh it. It says me everything that I did. Like there was a different username, there was a different password, but now whatever I type, so your hacking happens in a similar fashion. So this is actually an application from an ngrok. I can't disclose it because this is all private, right? You can't really do it for every person. So all the things in my hand, so I can't really say you that. So let me just show you one more application called as an dir search. Dir search is nothing very complicated, but I'll see what really happens in dir search. That website that I was showing you here is mine. So I have all the privileges to do anything and everything with it. So it has a secure shell and SSL certification. It's actually a static website hosted on some uh, cloud, and I can really access what's the file structure, whatever I've used, and everything gets to be known here. Like I'm sorry for my. Are there any? Oh, sorry. This is in this one, right? I think I need to zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little bit. Problem of Linux. So everything as in file structure comes out here. So this is just a simple intro to it. So let's not waste our time. All right. So let me just go to the demo part of it. Security demo. So what I thought of, like, let me just show you some files and let me just explain you how the security aspect comes into the picture. Like what I showed you was a bare metal OS that can be installed as a container. So the Clear Linux. I think I can share you what is this Clear Linux also. So quick motivation. This is a cyber map from Kaspersky, like the amount of vulnerabilities that is being tracked and the real time attacks which are happening here. So the amount of attacks, I think there are countless attacks which are happening every single day. And CV is like common vulnerabilities exposure. So Docker had a lot and lot of common vulnerabilities exposure. So DOS is denial of the service, code execution overflow, memory corruption, SQL injections. There were, what happened? What happened? All right, what's really happening? My exploration. Sorry for it, folks. I had to shut down my VM. So I think I could have shown you something on WhatsApp, and you would have never got to know. Okay, fine. But like there are memory corruptions very less and gain of the privileges, like indirect gain of the privileges. Like even the user has given an access to only one guy, and SC surface cross-site surfing, and all these things are still there. So we talked about the Ubuntu image, right? I'll be also showing you about the Ubuntu image, and this is the amount of vulnerabilities that an Ubuntu has in the real-time systems. Like every time, Gaurav Lalwani, thank you so much. I Ubuntu, and this is the amount of vulnerabilities that was found in Docker. And this is the vulnerabilities which were found in your Ubuntu. There are different version 2021. There are risk, low, medium, and I think there is nothing high. Oh, there was an high. Not vulnerable released. It's all patched. So there are different clouds using. So yes, needs storage and everything. Azure, Linux. So fine. The clear Linux is actually an OS, typical OS which works on every little aspects of it. Like you can get to know, like it's like the basic version of the Linux where you can develop your own. So clear Linux is amazing. So download it, install it, run it, explore something more. And the container which I did is this one. So a basic intro that I gave was only this. So meanwhile, when you just go on, just do this Docker pull, you just get to know it. So this is something very basic about it. So meanwhile, there are capabilities, and we will talk about it in the future. So let me just go to this Docker file. This is an Ubuntu 18.4 version, and I'll be doing a demo using it. So a Docker file is something which contains all the components that are required, and you can really go on and fetch what's really happening. So simple as that. So this is a demo one. Yeah, demo one. It is from Ubuntu 18.04. It just goes to the Ubuntu that is staying in the Docker hub, grabs that image and comes out. And this is just a label and nothing more. I can even change it to Vishwas Narayan, and done. So group add is something which can be done, and you can still do run apt get update, and then apt get upgrade, and all these things still works the same. And just like your Linux machine, it still works the same. So even if you do ls, it will just give out all the file system that has been installed after this. I don't think now it will take a lot of time, but like let me just go on with the demo. So command, simple command, docker build -t demo one demo, because I had already done demo one, I know that. So when I just build it, since there is already installation which has happened and nothing more needs to be done here, and update and upgrade. Oh, I should put -y here because it asks for the yes command. So let's just go here. Oh, it didn't ask. Oh, it's still upgrading. Let me just cancel that and let me just do that. Oh, update and upgrade takes time, but yeah, 2 out of 3, and everything is done here. And meanwhile, let's just go on with CMD uh, docker run minus. I'll show you the command what it is. So -u is for the user command, and a bin and a bash. So docker images gives me the list of images that I have done. So demo one. So image ID is this one. So let me just not copy it. So RM just removes it. So -IP, bin and a bash. Where is this demo one? Demo one is here. Oh, 4 hours ago I did it once again. Nice that I actually took the time for doing a demo. So now when you run it, the bin and the bash starts working. So after you just got to know that, right? It will always run in the root version, but now it's running in the Vishwas. It's not taking any access. So now if I just do it, it still remains the same. No change in the file system. I can do the update. Probably it's going to take time because it will not take time. It will not do anything because I've not given any of the privileges here. So nothing exists in a file system which can say that this is what it is. Sudo su root, and I've set the password as Vishwas. Su authentication failed. This is what happened in that image. All right. So let me just go on with it. So let me just remove this because it's so see that I just gave a file system with the root privileges and user add Vishwas and a Vishwas as a username and a password. And I've given a file system for it called as Vishwas. And also the front end, Debian front end is something which is there, and I've given a non-privileges for it. Like it should be non-interactive. So where can I go there? So when you go for the capabilities of all the Linux system and the Windows, so capability kill is just going to kill it. So if you are going to say like, okay, I don't want this thing to happen in the environment. So env commands comes into the picture with that privilege only. So let me just go to sudo su. It doesn't take it because sudo is also not there in the file system and nothing there. So if I go here, if I say, okay, I have only Vishwas who is going to have these privileges, and if I'm not going to do it, it's not going to happen. So how to exit a container? Exit command really works fine. And this is clear Linux. So this is actually an image from the clear Linux. It has the latest version of it. So let's just go on and run it. So clear Linux cd clear Linux ls. Oh, sorry, this is not Windows. That's a Docker file and code dot dot, and I open a command prompt here with through that. So now there is file systems here. All right, where is this clear Linux? Okay, this is here. So if you can go here and you can see that there is an clear Linux which is getting done. What I do is EIR is here. So better let me just go to that clear Linux demo. And there's a Docker file here. So Docker build -p clear Linux demo1 and dot actually says that the Docker file exists in the root folder, that is this folder that I've navigated to. So this folder has the same Docker image. So if you guys can't see it, so just say me out loud so that I can make some changes for it. So simple command, since I had already done it, it's already there. So Docker images, here it is. So clear Linux demo1 done. Docker run -u Vishwas -ip -rm rm I think so. Yep, -rm, and I need to give an image ID. Where is it? So it's here. Since it's a complete replica of that image and I didn't do any changes, it still remained the same and no changes. And there is no image here. So then and a bash bin slash bash. Oh god, what really happened here? Oh, it came in. See, I gave an user privilege, and that came as Vishwas, and I've not even defined what should be the name of it. If I exit it and I say Vishwas1, look at what it does. Doesn't even give an access to that person. Doesn't even give an access to that person. I'll say you at typical story about this Docker ps minus a. So all the things which are running here and their file system comes up and shows up here, and which was being executed at what time and what really happened can be got to know through this. So Exciter, so Excite created BusyBox. Oh, I also created a BusyBox 3 hours ago. So 7 days, 13 days ago, all these things, all the information that you need pops up here. So that's the part of Docker. So let me just go to the, sorry for my file system management. See, change shell demo. So let me just open this Docker file, and there is a new password that I'll be also showing you, and it's a pretty good thing that you guys can get to know what is happening. So it's still an Ubuntu image. I can still go and do clear Linux, but let me just stay with the Ubuntu itself. But let me just not make it a mess. So change shell, user, bash, and root. And this says that only through this login also. Like even if you log in, you can't really access the root. Let me just show you how it works. Command prompt docker build minus t. No user. I can't do that. And dot, which says Docker file is still in the same repository. I think this might take time. Oh, this didn't take time. Docker meters, and what I had given was no user. Oh my god, a lot of things up and running here. I think yes, this is the one. So I go here, Docker run minus. Since I had given a username as Vishwas. Yeah, I'm Vishwas, so I gave it as Vishwas. Even if I make it caps, it doesn't work. Case sensitive. So you can't say them that it's not case sensitive. It's case sensitive. Minus rm minus IP uh, comes up hot and running. And let me just do ls and sudo su root. And even if I give the password, check it out. It still fails the authentication. So making your secure algorithm is also fine. But if you are not given an access to some of your privileges, like okay, capabilities have not been made false, and every user can access everything, it's not going to work. All right, then let's just go to the. I think I need to show you these guys. I think so, because I think I forgot to show you guys this. Hacker one, simple as that. So if you go to hacker one, and you go and press this tiny little box called as H activity, and you go here, type your favorite software, you can find all the vulnerabilities that has been explored by the bug bounty hunters. Like even in GitHub, there is lot of bugs which are yet to be solved. Let me not waste your time. I have selected some of them and I'll be going to you what is this. So common vulnerability exposed and a buffer underflow of FPM and main.c. There's a C file which is going on, and the playground and environment section with the readme exploits readme.md. Oh my god. See, I can share you the resources, don't worry about it. Like I can share you the link here, everything is fine. So you can go to the hacker one and you can start working on it. So even here you can also find that there is like a bypass advisory proxy filter. Like there is a bypass, there is an API server, proxy filters are working there, but like they are not working for some file resources, some file systems. That's what happens here. So you can go here, type in Kubernetes, search it, you will get access to it. So H activity, I don't know what's wrong with this. It's not coming up for all. It's an amazing list of like lot of things like Kubernetes. So you guys can go here, check out all the H activities that have happened here. And in the meanwhile, I think I have to show you guys change shell option. Even with the shell option, it didn't work. So I think I need to go here, press this demo of password setting, and even if I set the password, it will not work. Get to know this, how this Docker file says it. Open with code. So let me say you how. So you guys can go on and check it out. So password is here. So like everything is running up and running here. So it's Ubuntu, which is maintainer. Vishwas here. I've given the root access to Vishwas, and I go and keep the password. So Docker build -t. What should I name? Password B. Docker, and it's still in the root, so I need not have to give anything. Takes few seconds. Password doesn't exist. See, like even if I try to change the password out there, password remains unchanged. So password was not changed at any cost. Authentication token, manipulation error. That's how secure your containers are. Like even if I want to really go and change it off and say that, hey, just do this, just do that, it doesn't work. Password done. Like what should I do now? Security Docker demo 1. I think I need to show you guys this one. So open with Docker demo 2 and Docker file. I think this is proper. Okay, this is actually an container that has Jupyter running on it. So this is like Jupyter notebook, but if you want Jupyter lab can be run here, I can change it to Jupyter lab. So this has been saved. What's happening? Simple as that. Get to know this. Python 3 Python container has been accessed through the Docker Hub. Where is this Docker Hub? See, there are a lot of vulnerabilities which are listed. So you can go here, submit reports, and see the amount of vulnerabilities. High, medium, low. That's what I wanted to show there. Just go to the Google, Docker Hub, Python. So meanwhile, if you guys have any doubts, just make sure that you drop it in the comment section below so that we get it sorted. So what it does is the same thing. It just goes and grabs that Python 3 image from there and the latest version. If I do latest, it goes to the latest version. Latest version. Let me just do the latest version itself. So latest version has been there. So similarly, what you can do there can be done here. So pip apt-get update, apt-get install -y can also be put in the end, but I'll put it here. Fine. Let me just do a small change for you guys. Organized. So pip install Twint is actually Twitter awesome tool, so you guys can go there and check it out. Like you guys can really get to know what is the difference between a Twitter API and a Twint. Twint is amazing, so just go and do it. So every time you run without this, there is no file system which will be generated throughout, and nothing will start working. And everything has to be done through an user admin, and user has been added. So users node has to be added. If you write node here, done with you. So an user privilege has to be created until and unless, or else everybody gets an access to it. So meanwhile, also get to know this. If you are doing this, you can't host it on a container on Azure Kubernetes instance. And also, you can do an expose of some port number. I want to expose 808. Okay, 8080. But typically, and Jupyter Lab actually hosts on 8080 port, or else the port which is still available outside of the container. So I don't think so. This has to be needed. So let me not expose any port. Let me not say anything. So I've been here. So let me just clear this off. So the demo 1, I opened this. So there's a demo 2. Yes. Then what I do is I just run it cmd docker build -t Jupyter version 1 and a dot. It gets downloaded in a very easy because I've already done this. So it's very easy to run after this. So updates. Every time I run it, there'll be a new update. because in Linux there is 10,000 lines which will get added, and there are multiple lines which will get deleted at every day. So yeah, you can't really say that your updates will be stuck only during that time. Every time when you run it, updates will be up and running there. So since I did latest, I think so I didn't do the 3. Oh, all right. Since I did the latest, so there's an updation going on. Okay, let me just do one thing. Let me just run another container that has it. So Docker, oh, sorry for my Docker images. Oh, sorry. Where is this Jupyter? I think Jupyter Lab. This one. Docker run minus D can do minus T, and we can still do 8080 and I think it was DS and me. Okay, fine. What happens? So D, S, E, and V. The one which is here. D, S, E, and V. Hmm. Let it run. Oh, sorry. I didn't write the port. Minus T minus P. Oh, not in the detached mode. Sorry for it. If you run it in a detached mode, it will still access. Oh, already allocated. What I can do is 8081 and see. This will be up, hot, and running right now. I think so. Let me not waste my time. So, whoa, wait. Docker, right? Let me just stop the other containers which are there. It's taking time. It's taking time. So okay, like let me just share you my repository which has it, so you guys can get to know what is that I'm talking about. So Docker bench security, I'll go to the Docker bench security. It's still there. And environments. Oh, sorry, I have all the environments listed, but this is here. So you guys can go same Docker file. You guys can just go in, run the same repository by Docker run minus P. Oh, it's in a toggle mode. Stop it. Zero kernels, zero terminals were created by Docker stop. Docker PS. DSEME. I need to stop it. Docker stop. Let me just show you one more thing. So this has a CA code, this has 61, this has 72, and everything gets stopped right now. So you need not have to worry about like I need to enter every little code of it. Everything gets run here. I think this is running. So Docker PS, nothing is up and running here. So all right, it came up. Now tag this. So what I do is I still go Docker run minus P. Run minus P 8888 and 8888. I think so. Yeah, it's 8888. So what it does is it accesses the port 8888 of your local system, and this accesses the 8888 port of your container. So here it is. So what I can do is I can now access this no matter what. Jupyter Lab. Yep, it's up. Jupyter Lab is here. So we can go here and I can do import math. It's running. Math.ecos or anything like math.add something. Anything can be done. Math.ecos of something like 2. Let's just say, okay, there's a value error. Something. You can do that because f tabs of 2 comma 3. 2, 3,2. I don't know about it. So you want to learn something more? Just go and check out this mat.describe. It's up and running. So since I gave an user access, the demo and that file systems which were there were all allocated here. And if you can go here and still it's up and running, I can do ls. Still says untitled notebook, but import os name, I think so. See, there's an POSIX, there's still a Linux system which is, oh, sorry, I did too much of that. There's still an POSIX, there is a Linux, there is a node name of 611, since this is a Docker container, and it's running with the WSL2 standard because mine is Windows Home, so WSL2 has to be installed. So it's running on that host. So WSL2 has been installed. And yeah, machine x86 64. This is a 64-bit machine, so it has a 64-bit version of it. Yes, since everything was running proper, it started working. So even if I do localhost 8888, I think this should work. All right, this has for a token, so I can log in without it. So, oh, I think user is the name. I think demo. I forgot the password what I set for this one. Console minus y. See, it doesn't give access to me here. Invalid credentials. Docker server, Jupyter server list. All right. List. Currently, that hash, how it came in, but like, there are tokens, set up a password. Okay, fine. So that token, I can't really get it. So you guys can go here. See the home/demo that I had kept in. Home/demo has been running through this server. I don't think so. This token really works, but like, yeah, let's just see whether this token really works. Fine. I'll take this token. I'll set it up. So, all right. Let's not do it. You can set up a password by entering your token and a new password below. Vishwas. Login. I don't think so. It's not that one. It's not that one. That's not a token. That's a different story. Yes. Net tools also. Okay, I can also show you guys how the security can also be vulnerable because of your file installed. So clear Linux can't be run. So what I do is I'll exit it. Exit. Let's exit. So meanwhile, Ubuntu. Text since unable to find Ubuntu because it was through an independent source and it now came in. So pulling, so it will take time. So let me just go to the other things here. So where is that? So that's it, I think so, folks. So I think no other demo is left. Same thing, I think so. Oh, demo still the same. So I think that was the edge top that I wanted to install and I wanted to show how the performance is happening. Yep. We go and do it here. So let's not worry about it. Let me just go to clear Linux. No, clear Linux. Edge top can be used here and I'll show you how the container utilizes the memory and things like that. So just some ham. Okay, I wanted to do this just some ham, but like let's just go on with this so that you guys can get to know what is happening. So run, sorry, run apt-get install htop -y. All right. So here it is. Docker run -t htop one and this one. I think this htop is going to take less time. I can do that. Not run, build. Sorry. If I wanted to run it as soon as possible, I just wanted to. So I think that is the only one. So it had loaded the internal data app get installed. Sorry for my typo. Install htop. There it is. So it will be up and running now. So execution failed. Install htop. Oh, got it. So since I have given an user access, so it can't be running. So if this has been done, all right, I can show you in the Docker also. The Jupyter, not the Docker. Where did the Jupyter go? Oh, it's here. Lot of files, lot of files. Do app get install htop. Couldn't open. Oh, permission denied. All of them have the permission denied. See, like anything that I make here is not coming in because everything has an access to it. So did the Linux get pulled out? Oh, it's running. Apt get install htop. Able to locate package htop. Install get updates. Valid operation updates. See, no, nothing which is not there in the file system doesn't work. So I think I've removed all the access to it. So let me just go on with the networking thing. Networking thing is actually better, and we'll go for this one. So these are some of the simple commands that you can actually use for getting the container privileges up and running. So let me not just waste your time. So let me just go here and sit here. Images are here. Oh, Docker images. What I can do is I can use a clear Linux or else clear Linux demo. I can use anything. So I'll paste it here. So there's an security option, no new privileges. That means nothing can get done that has been installed on my system. So it's here. So I can go here, paste it here, paste the container ID. Don't worry, I'll give you all the things as an GitHub repository so you guys can think about it. Docker. Slash slash bash. Oh, it came up. So this is the problem with this. So I gave out every access. So now all the things that I write here, like even the simple ls commands will not start working. And my computer has gone so bad these days since it was that shell. So let me just copy this. Let me just run it in another command prompt. My computer these days so confused like me. Oh, I can also show you like how this 127.00 in this file system works. This thing these days. All right. So I can also type in some things and ls doesn't work. App get updates command is not found. So still remains the same. Still the accesses remains the same. Still everything that is there here. I think I can show you one thing like this entire thing. This was shared in this PC, and all the things that I've shown here works similar in your Docker containers and which has been orchestrated also. So there is a need for everything. So there is an orchestration done. So I'll show you that one application that I did and it didn't get done. and this is that application. I think there's no sound required because no sound here. This is the same old R Cascade application which I did before the session. Like actually, I did it for the web app session. I didn't do it because I didn't have the time for it. So now, wait. There was Vishwas 222. That was a web app that I actually did. I think it's in the file system. So the same application didn't get installed and it is not yet working. So I did a web app application, and if you go here, it didn't work out. So that is how it is. If I go here, there is an every bit of application that I hosted here, and it will show me what has happened, and it's still available and it's still up and running. And you can also go through this and you can see what's the logs of it. Of course, it's been hosted, so that's why it's showing me this matrices, but it's not showing now. So if I stop it, it will not work, and successfully stopped. So that's how your containers and privileges work here, and you guys can just go on and just get some applications through all these, and I'll share you all the resources here through the GitHub. So thank you, folks. Thank you so much. What is the difference between copy and add comment? So copy is basically where you can go and just install everything from your, actually update all the things from your file system, and you can really update it. And you can really go back and you can really think of uh, like if you have some files installed and you can get it onto your container. So that's what copy is. Add is something like everything gets added, and if you're really given that privilege there, it will start working. And work directory is something which is there, so everything gets added there. All the files gets added there. Copy is something like the files which are there, just move it. Add is something like entire folder and the entire volume of it, just move there. So that's where the volumes and the things like that come up. So yes, I think Poonam, this is the end of the session. No Q and
Thanks,
A's.
Vishwas. It was a great session. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I hope you liked the session. If you did, then you can share it on social media platforms with your peers and your friend circle with the hashtag AzureDevIndia. And hope you guys have a great day ahead. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining me. We'll go. Hey, Poonam, like just join here. All right.